What is going on, everybody? We are live, baby. We are live. Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of For the People podcast. And of course, I am your humble host, Niko House. If you are in the chat right now, let me know that you can hear me okay, that you can see me okay, and give a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from, which website you're watching from, and also what city and state or country are you watching from. For all my Brazilians, e aí? Beleza? Tudo bem? Tudo bom? What's up? What's up? We got a few people in the chat right now. Y'all need to let me know where y'all at, bro. Where y'all at? Like and share, like and share. We are here. We are live, and we have a lot to talk about. We got some updates about this Israeli pedo. Okay. It turns out that Israel had given some false information to the media when first asked about this. And so when an update was given, the information they gave and the information that was true, as usual, contradicted itself. But also, the Attorney General, that's basically supposed to be the head of this case in Nevada, she's suspect. Go ahead and just call it that. We're gonna talk about it. She's suspect, and by suspect I mean she's also dual loyalty. Yeah, we're also gonna talk about Hillary Clinton coming out and praising the Trump administration, y'all. Praising the Trump administration on his foreign policy. Bruh, I don't know like how much more of an L you can take as a president regarding your foreign policy or really any other policy. If Hillary Clinton's complimenting you, you're doing it wrong. Just saying, right? And finally, we're gonna cover some of the debate from Amanda Zills, who absolutely cooked. I mean, just destroyed a bunch of Black conservatives. And you know, while we're watching the video, I want everybody to understand, like, I actually know some Black conservatives that are commonsensical in their beliefs. You know what I'm saying? I might not agree with them on everything, but they don't go around touting these stereotypical, basically self-hating policies or talking points rather, and just embarrassing themselves in front of a person who, if they did their research before going on, they would know is extremely educated when it comes to social issues, especially any issues regarding Black people, which was the primary issue, the issue that Black people face rather, that was a primary point of discussion during that debate. And they got absolutely embarrassed, and Amanda was not playing no games. It was absolutely glorious to see. There was one point where she told this dude, she said, "You better talk to me like I'm your mama. Respect me like I'm your mama." Bro, I was like, yeah. I was in the bathroom like, laughing at my wife, like, what's going on? But we're going to get right into it. Let me give you some shout outs real quick. Shout out to Janae from New Orleans. Did I pronounce that right? New Orleans. Apparently it's like Fayetteville. If you say Fayetteville, everybody judges you. So apparently New Orleans is like the same thing, right? Oregon, what's going on? Chris from Oregon, Richard. Hillary praises but has not changed her views. Yeah, I know that's the problem. We gonna hear what she praises him for specifically. Ellen, what's going on? Jimmy, Paris. Man, Richard, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. Chris. Mainstream Black conservatives are a sham. Yeah, I mean, they're just as bad as mainstream Black liberals, to be honest with you. Maybe even worse. I'm not even joking. It's sad. So we're gonna talk first about these updates from what we have from the new revelations in this cybersecurity executive director pedo case of Tom Alexandrovich. For those of you who don't know, I did a hotspot video on this, but it was with I didn't realize that the information I actually gave, at least in part, was what Israel was informing the media of. Now, of course, because at that point, and probably to this, actually, from what I've seen still to this day, the mainstream media did not cover it nor confirm it. they were able to give false information. Then when the information actually, the court dates and things like that, court date, all that stuff came out, it turns out that Israel had lied. So we're going to talk about that and also the implications of all of this, because it gets sketchier and sketchier. I didn't even get to go all the way down the rabbit hole the way I wanted to, because the more you go down the rabbit hole, the sketchier the shit gets. And this isn't new for anything to do with Israel, but it really is just making the U.S. look more and more like Israel's bitch every day in the worst possible ways. Like, because we already got the situation with the Epstein client list, right? We got, simultaneously, we have Trump pretending like he's doing this crackdown on DC because there's just this grandiose crime issue when DC doesn't even fall into the top 30 of most crime-ridden cities. Okay, and then so we got this pedo crime case, this pedo federal case, and Israel all wrapped up into one, and the federal government is failing us. Surprise, surprise. So, let's check out this article real quick. And nope, it's not going to be from MSNBC or Fox News because they don't really want to talk about it. But it's a great article talking about the updates, or rather the revelations in this case. This is the question that everybody has on their minds. Still hasn't been answered, but we're going to talk about it. I think y'all can see this. Okay, yeah, y'all can see it. Why did a U.S. court let an Israeli cyber executive accused of pedophilia walk free on $10,000 bail? The executive arrested in Las Vegas during the Black Hat Conference was released on minimal bail and allowed to leave the country. Why did the senior executive in Israel's cybersecurity directorate suspected of pedophilia in the United States and released on bail of only $10,000 return to Israel, even though he is scheduled to appear in court in Nevada in about a week and a half? Ladies and gentlemen, in the legal world, that is what we would call a flight risk. I mean, when I tell you a flight risk, like if you have a court case, especially a federal, like a felony or something, or a serious misdemeanor or multiple serious misdemeanors, like they don't even like to let you leave the state. They won't let you they don't even like to let you post bail and leave the city or the state because they consider you a flight risk. This man has a court date scheduled in a week, and they let him leave the country. Yeah. This is a big ass deal, y'all. This is just one of the troubling questions raised by the affair, which came to light over the weekend. Las Vegas police announced the arrest of 8 suspects in child sexual offenses in an operation conducted over the past 2 weeks in cooperation with the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and other law enforcement agencies, which makes this even crazier, right? Because as far as, the FBI, yeah, it could be your local FBI, but as far as the Department of Homeland Security is concerned, that means the Trump administration has gotten wind of it. And yeah, they do have the authority. The Justice Department does have the authority to step in these particular cases and be a little bit paternalistic and be like, hey, y'all, nah, you can't, we not letting you slide like that, dog. I mean, hell, we watched them literally confiscate Scott Ritter's passport while he was traveling, and they didn't even charge him with anything. It was like, yeah, we don't like the stuff that you might say. We know that the Department of Homeland Security has stopped other people, has interfered in other people's travels, like Americans' travels, they hadn't even committed a crime. They just were worried about something that they were going to say at a conference. This guy has been accused of committing a crime. They originally say he was just detained, but now, obviously, because we found out he posted bail, he was not detained. He was arrested. He was arrested, y'all. Because there is a difference between detained and arrested. There is a significant, which is why Israel, when they initially came out, they said it was detained. Yo, what's up, man? Yo, Niko, what's happening in Bolivia? Swinging right. Oh, I need to check that out. I don't know, but I will check it out. That's an important issue. I'm kind of surprised if they are swinging right legitimately. So the eight all face felony charges of luring a child with computer for sex act. Under Nevada law, this constitutes a Class B felony punishable by 1 to 10 years in prison. According to the announcement, one of those arrested is head of the National Cybersecurity Directorate's Technological Defense Division. The officer was in law. His name is Tom Alexandrovich. By the way, that position, I looked it up because I couldn't, because everybody was like, yo, man, why is Netanyahu not saying anything? I'm like, well, I don't know if this is necessarily in his purview, because I thought like maybe it was a private agency that worked for the Israeli government, because, like we see that a lot within the US. No, this position is actually, or this institution is part of the Israeli government. It is part of Netanyahu's administration. And to make matters worse, Tom's job as executive director, he was handpicked by Netanyahu. Yeah, he won't voted on by the legislature. It wasn't like some process and then Netanyahu just signed some paperwork. No, he was handpicked by Netanyahu. Israel got so many pedophiles that literally they just picking pedophiles to be heads of departments at this point. I don't know if it's on purpose or by accident, but I guess they don't even really ask questions because it's Israel, right? This is the country that don't ask questions about pedo. That's why you literally cannot throw a rock while blindfolded without accidentally hitting a pedo in Israel. This is facts. So the officer was in Las Vegas for the annual Black Hat Hacker Conference held from August 2nd to the 7th. They're just talking about his LinkedIn account right there. But court records from Clark County, Nevada show that the officer was brought before a judge on August 7th on suspicion of luring a child with computer for sex act. The court set bail at $10,000 and scheduled a further hearing. Okay, that was weird. Scheduled a further hearing before Judge Barbara Shifalakwa. That's a crazy last name. I'm going to assume that she's indigenous, but that is a crazy last name. The executive posted bail the same day and was released shortly thereafter. So for everybody to understand what this means, the judge usually sets the bail, the judge or the magistrate, but in this case, they were clear. The judge was Barbara Shifalakwa. She set the bail. That's a low bail for this situation. That's low for any felony case, but that's really low for a felony case in this situation with somebody who's a flight risk. She's also the one that had to approve him being allowed to go back to the country. So this judge should never have done this. And really, everybody should be on her head top. Now, I want to be clear. To my understanding, this is a district judge, which is actually somewhat strange given the case. Okay. So, of course, she's probably answering to somebody else. But the judge is responsible for this. But it never, I'm going to explain in a second why it never actually should have gotten to her specifically. Somebody was dodging responsibility. I'm going to explain. But according to the Cyber Directorate, he returned to Israel on his originally scheduled flight and informed his superiors that he had been questioned by U.S. authorities during his trip. Following the incident, he went on leave by joint decision with the Directorate. Leave. Yeah, we've seen that before, right? Whenever cops kill somebody that they ain't supposed to kill, and they go on leave voluntarily with pay. and then take their ass right back to work. They just go on extended vacation, basically. The affair raised difficult questions about the Prime Minister's office. The Prime Minister's office's response. Before the case was made public, the office issued a statement to the media. A civil servant who traveled to the United States on professional matters was questioned during his stay by the American authorities. The employee, who does not hold a diplomatic passport, so he doesn't have diplomatic immunity, was not arrested and returned to Israel on scheduled date. Y'all, do you hear what I'm saying, y'all? They went out of the way to say he wasn't arrested. He, in fact, was arrested. He was not detained. He was arrested. A judge set bail for him. Somebody paid the bail, which we don't know the answer to that question. And the judge allowed him to fly back to Israel. Now, there are a couple of things that don't add up. There are a couple things that don't add up. So in these cases, like I said before, in a case where somebody has a flight risk, especially when they don't have any connection to the country that they are in or the state that they're in, the bail is generally set higher if you are even granted bail. That's if you are even granted bail. And a lot of the times you just wouldn't be granted bail. So there's that. Israel got caught lying again. The office of the prime minister got caught lying again. Or the cybersecurity directorate lied. Or excuse me, the cybersecurity executive director lied to Israel. But will still be facing zero consequences because according to Israel, they've come out and said that he will not face any political consequences as a result of this investigation. So there's that. This district judge just did one of the weirdest things that you could possibly do in a legal situation involving somebody who committed a felony. This just doesn't happen, y'all. I guarantee if they were from any other country, this wouldn't fly. And we need to know why the mainstream media isn't talking about any of this. But it gets even stranger, y'all. It gets even stranger. So in times like these, one looks for what the Attorney General of the state has to say about the situation. Naturally. Because, I mean, generally speaking, on felony cases that are considered high priority and especially high visibility, the Attorney General is usually a big part of the decision making on how it goes. Like, for example, we're going to let this go down to the district, or am I going to handle this? It's going to go to a federal judge, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so let's first look at the person who's going to be making, or who has already started making decisions, rather, on this case. Y'all going to love this.
The radical left is burning down our country and attacking Jews in the streets, and Ilhan Omar is fanning the flame. I'm Sigal Chattah, an Israeli-born lawyer running to be America's #1 conservative attorney general. I'll stand up to Ilhan Omar and take her team to court for defunding our police, opening our borders, and teaching our kids to hate each other based on the color.
Yeah, that's really all you need to know. Y'all heard that correctly. The Israeli-born Attorney General. Y'all heard that correctly. The Israeli-born Attorney General from Nevada. Now, in a normal world, I would probably consider that like if things went down the way that they are going down at this point, and you find out that this isn't an Israeli-born, as in has Israeli citizenship, as in has Israeli passport, as in can go back to Israel and return from Israel when and however they want to. If things went down the way they are going down, we would consider this a conflict of interest and somebody would step in. So let's just see how she's handling the situation so far. Because if there's a conflict of interest, I'm sure everybody will know, right? It's a pretty important job. I'm gonna laugh at this. So this is from the U.S. Attorney Office. Last week, Tom Artyom Alexandrovich was arrested in Nevada in a Nevada Internet Crimes Against Children joint operation, and he was booked into Henderson Detention Center. This important multi-agency operation targeted child sex predators who preyed upon the most vulnerable members of our communities. As a result of the operation, the Clark County District Attorney's Office is handling the prosecution. Siegel Chata, U.S. Attorney. My apologies, not Attorney General, but U.S. Attorney. Yeah. So, what? He's like, you say all that. It's like, damn, it sounds pretty serious, right? This sounds like some federal shit. This sounds like some U.S., like United States, like because you got the FBI involved, Department of Homeland Security involved, local authorities, federal authorities. And you like, so in conclusion, yeah, we're going to kick this shit down the district. I don't want nothing to do with it. How is that your conclusion? Like, you say all of that, and your conclusion is, so we're going to let the district deal with this? I'm going to tell y'all something. Ain't no way in hell, in any other situation, that the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and the police run a sting operation, find out that somebody is committing a felony, and then be like, yeah, let's go ahead and kick that shit down in the district. What? Bro, what? Now, this lady is extra special because right before all this went down, there was some people who felt some type of way about her ability to be a U.S. attorney. And these people were judges. Yeah, judges. This is from the Society for the Rule of Law. More than 100 judges, y'all. More than 100 judges. Said that attorney appointee Siegel Chata is unfit for office. In a powerful show of support for the rule of law, 116 former judges signed a letter to Chief U.S. District Judge Andrew Gordon of Nevada and his district court colleagues. The letter urges them to resist former President Trump's attempt to bypass constitutional checks and appoint Siegel Chata as U.S. Attorney for the District of Nevada. Chata is known for her incendiary rhetoric and a record of urging weaponization of law enforcement for political ends. Two bipartisan watchdogs, Democracy Defenders Action and Society for the Rule of Law Institute, spearheaded the letter, which was submitted on Monday to the court by retired federal judges and state judges, including those who were nominated by both parties. Y'all, this was done on July 29, 2025. July 29th, 2025, not 2024. Yeah, the July that just passed, y'all. In other words, a bunch of courts got together, a bunch of judges got together from both parties, from both sides of the political aisle, And they all said, hell nah, she ain't the one. All of them agreed on this. Not even 3 weeks ago. This sting operation, ladies and gentlemen, they said it was a 2-week operation. So sometime in between the time they said she was unfit to be a U.S. attorney and the time that this Tom Alexandrovich was arrested for being an accused pedo, they all agreed that she was unfit for the job, and then she goes on to prove that she was unfit and is unfit for this job. Why is this woman making decisions? And she's an acting, by the way, she's an acting U.S. attorney. She wasn't even elected. So she's acting. This man is now, we're expecting, y'all, this is Israel we talking about. We're expected to believe that she kicked this down to the district. They gave him a $10,000 bail only, and we don't even know who paid it. By the way, a proposito, we don't even know who paid the bail. Was it? Because think about it. Was it the Israeli government or somebody who worked for the Israeli government? And if that was the case, that means you knew he was arrested, which means you knew he wasn't detained, which means the story you put out was deliberately misleading and therefore a lie. Right? Okay. But then it just so happens to turn out that there was actually a crusade against this specific U.S. attorney who is an Israeli citizen. Right before this Israeli citizen gets to go home a week before his court appearance. And we're supposed to believe that he's going to come back. And we're supposed to believe that there are going to be consequences if he doesn't come back. Right? Really, guys? Bro, I cannot stress enough how it just clearly looks like there's some rules that apply to some of us and don't apply to this one very specific group. I'm not going to say it's Zionist, but it's Zionist. And if you're Israeli, oh, sugar on top. But it doesn't even matter if you're Israeli because, like I talked about in my hotspot video, there is an American that killed a Mexican teenager. Okay, his father paid to get him sent to Tel Aviv. This was in 1997. He paid for him to get him sent to Tel Aviv. And within that same time frame, he got him an Israeli passport, which means he turned him into an Israeli citizen within that same time frame. Before the case, the person who helped him kill Alfredo Thayer, that was the name of the teenager, 17-year-old who was killed. The person that helped him killed himself in jail because they knew that they were guilty. He knew they were going to be found guilty. That's how much. That's why the dad went out of the way to buy the passport and buy the plane ticket, send him to Tel Aviv so he can hide and get him the passport because they knew he was guilty and he was going to get caught. It was too much evidence. But so the other kid, unfortunately, was not part of this tribe. So he ended up in jail, killed himself. Lord, we don't know where Sean Baum is right now. Probably still in Israel, hiding out. So like I said, the judge needs to be reprimanded because this is not usually how things go when it comes to this type of situation. The U.S. attorney, she obviously should have been gone. All these judges, it's like a bipartisan consensus of 116 judges are like, yo, hell no. She really shouldn't be doing this job. And then when she got the job, it's like, man, this could be the biggest case of your career. This is a career-making case. And she's like, nah, kick that shit down to the district. I don't want nothing to do with it. Kick it down to the district. I don't want nothing to do with it. Yeah, okay. Man, rules for me, but not for thee. Interesting that, huh? Y'all like this video? Share this video. We're going to move on to the next topic really quick. Happy June. Y'all remember how back in the day, it seems like a lifetime ago at this point, Donald Trump actually won an election by effectively being against everything Hillary Clinton stood for. That's effectively, I mean, more or less, that's what it boiled down to. Yeah, apparently that's not the case anymore. Hillary Clinton loved that guy. He loves him. She loved that. I mean, she was complimentary. She was downright giddy talking about how proud she was of this administration and the foreign policy evolution. Let's just call that an evolution that's been made by this administration. Let's check out this clip from a recent interview with Hillary Clinton. Smash that like button, share the video.
I actually was encouraged by the events of the last several months. First of all, the NATO commitment by individual member states to increase their defense spending is very welcome. It's something that prior administrations have certainly sought, and I think it's great that we are seeing these commitments that now have to be followed through on. The willingness of European countries to support Ukraine, and by doing so, buy American weapons in order to provide them to the Ukrainians. I think all of that is a very good signal that there is beginning to be a better understanding, both by the president and the people around him, as well as by the leaders of our European allies, that there can be common ground amongst us. And the kind of dismissiveness that we saw in the first Trump administration has been replaced by a much more obvious working relationship to the good of European security, transatlantic security, and hopefully Ukrainian security. So I'm actually encouraged.
Yo, that's a bad look, y'all. Listen, I mean, to put it in the simplest terms, I don't want Hillary Clinton agreeing with me on a motherfucking thing. Nothing at all. If Hillary Clinton showed up to my doorstep and told me the sky is blue, I'm going to hop on camera on live stream and tell y'all, yo, guess what I just learned? The sky is actually green. Well, what? Why would you say it, Niko? Because Hillary Clinton said the sky is blue, and therefore it must be a fucking lie. It must be a lie. Because there is nothing in this world that I want Hillary Clinton to agree with me on, especially foreign policy. If Hillary Clinton walked up to me and told me, you know, Niko, you're a pretty cool black guy. I'm like, whoa, I didn't know I was white. I mean, because I must be. Because ain't no way in hell that I'm black if Hillary Clinton is saying that I'm black. Because all she does is lie. And I don't want anything. I don't want to agree with her or want her to agree with me on anything. But in Trump's specific case, I definitely, out of everything that she could possibly agree with you on, I would absolutely 100% never in my life want her to agree with me on foreign policy, especially considering the thing that probably, I mean, other than the fact that she didn't campaign, we could contribute some of the Bernie bro stuff, like as far as like some Bernie people switching over to the Trump side, but that's largely because of her foreign policy and even some domestic policy and being pissed off at, you know, the being cheated thing. But like largely, the reason why everybody was like, there is no way in hell I'm voting for Hillary Clinton was because of foreign policy. And a lot of the reason why Trump won was because he said that he was going to do what? Basically the opposite of everything Hillary Clinton did, said, or represented. Criticize her for Libya. Criticize her for being hawkish in Iraq. Criticize her for being hawkish in Afghanistan. Criticize her loyalty to NATO. He even criticized the European nations in regards to NATO and just their imperialist ways and saying that they're basically sucking us dry and we're not getting enough return on our investment. Basically, any foreign policy stance, including this war with Russia and Ukraine, that Hillary Clinton had, Trump had the opposite. Now, fast forward, right? Fast forward. And look at this video. And the sad part about this is that she is absolutely right. Trump and her, based on his rhetoric and his policy stances, and what we've seen from this administration so far, are like this. They're in lockstep now. They're in lockstep now. And a lot of MAGA people don't want to admit it. And shout out to the ones that are willing to face this ugly truth that I know a lot of people are upset about. It's an ugly truth for some of y'all, but it is the truth nonetheless. He and Hillary Clinton are like this on foreign policy. Oh, hell, let's not even just foreign policy, just policy in general, because, I mean, let's be real. This Epstein clown list, will Hillary Clinton release it? And if she promised to release it, wouldn't her making excuses for why she did or couldn't release the client list, that would be like right up her alley, right? That's exactly what we expect of Hillary Clinton. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. Potentially pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, even considering it, that's something we would expect from Hillary Clinton. Hell, didn't Trump even criticize, for example, the 94 crime bill over and over and over again? And his base also criticized the 94 crime bill over and over and over again. And Hillary Clinton defended the 94 crime bill, not just Hillary, but obviously Biden too. But Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden both defended the 94 crime bill. Hillary Clinton defended her comments regarding the 94 crime bill. And now Trump is going full balls to the wall when it comes to his basically tough on crime facade that he's basically just using to up and enhance the surveillance state and the police state to please his donors. So whether it be on, I mean, he went from Ukraine started the war, and to some degree he still says that, but he said Ukraine started the war, we can't help them. This I'm gonna have this resolved in 24 hours to let me give Ukraine more money and give them more weapons and expect this shit to stop. He went from literally, y'all, he did not want to be a part of NATO. And he said this consistently during 2016, during his first campaign run. He criticized NATO, said that we were getting screwed over and over and over again. And then as time went on, he starts, somebody, they be tapping you on the shoulder. His stance started to get a little bit lighter, get a little bit lighter. Start easing up on we're going to pull out a NATO talk. Remember, this is so problematic that Western European nations were like beefing with the U.S., considering ending relations with the U.S. because of Trump and his specific stance on NATO. Because we know that, like France, especially, for example, other Western European nations as well, but definitely France, definitely Germany, France in the case of Africa, they can't survive without NATO. And NATO can't survive without the U.S. footing the bill and being cooperative. And so when Hillary Clinton comes out and praises you, Trump, that is confirmation. That is a final confirmation, if anybody needed it anymore, but that is the final confirmation that you have completely and totally betrayed your base. You have completely and totally become everything that you allegedly hated and ran against. And you're going to see like the Alex Jones type. There's a lot of people out there that like are still defending Trump no matter what. Still to this day. Because, they got bills to pay and the Trump economy is real. It ain't quite as profitable as it once was. But I told y'all it was coming. I said the decline is on the way. I said it. I warned. I said now, and as the decline comes, you're gonna start seeing people pivot. You see Candace Owens, she pivoting a little bit. You see your boy he been pivoted. Nick Fuentes, Mr. White supremacist himself, that boy pivoted hard. Hard pivot. He saw it coming way earlier. As it becomes less profitable to be a Trump supporter, you will begin to see pivots. And the reason, and what's crazy is the pivot, the reason that so many people remain loyal was because, when I say loyal, I mean like sycophants, is because it was profitable. The reason it was so profitable was because he had so many people who believed in the message that he used to put out and the policies he used to support and the stances he used to have. Which means he had a mandate, actually, to do everything he had originally promised. And fighting for that, even if he didn't succeed, because we understand how the presidency works. You don't really have control, but you have influence, even if you don't have control. You can still have a mandate even if you don't have control. Fighting for fighting and not achieving everything would have still gained him support, maintained that mandate, and people would have still been fighting to defend him. And you wouldn't be seeing this pivot that we are witnessing. But Hillary Clinton, this is. I mean, shit. What you die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That boy is on his Bernie story arc. He's on his Bernie Sanders already. Shit, I mean, but at least he could say he won, unlike Bernie punk ass. But yeah, but once again, thank you, Hillary. I appreciate Hillary Clinton coming out and praising Trump, despite what most people might believe. You know why? Because now everybody will pay attention. Oh shit, Hillary Clinton likes his Hillary Clinton likes his foreign policy. Oh, whoa! I need to double back. Let me let me check it. Yeah, of course. Trying to blow up Iran, constantly threatening war with Iran. Yeah, she gonna love that. Of course. Increasing defense spending across the board and convincing Eastern or Western European nations to do so. EU nations, of course she loves that. U.S. defense spending, of course she loves that. Negotiating with Ukraine, helping Ukraine, financing Ukraine, giving weapons. Of course she loves that. Oh, and she even was very clear. And the more weapons people buy, the richer we get because they're going to buy them from us. Yeah, that's just confirmation of what we kind of already knew. Or what I definitely knew, but some people were like, maybe, no, like, yeah, no. He's completed his transformation into a full-blown fucking neocon. So much so that Hillary Clinton is praising the man that she tried to, not tried to. She effectively committed treason trying to get him out of office after she lost. Now she went from committing treason to get this man out of office, probably should be in jail, to praising his foreign policy. It's okay, y'all. Y'all can admit that y'all got played, bro. It happens to the best of us. It really does. Look, Bernie, man, I was a Bernie guy. Psh. Dan Tulsi, it happens to the best of us. But the difference is y'all man's still in office and y'all have at least a little bit of sway. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all can actively criticize him in the Republican Party. Who knows what they're going to do? But like, there are ways that you can hold Trump accountable, and it isn't even, obviously you can't pull him out of office. That's different. But there are ways to push him in one direction or the other because he seems more responsive to the actual party itself now more than his base. Yeah, okay, so then start threatening party. I mean, just stop entertaining them. Stop engaging with them. Threaten them. Not like physically. I'm talking about like, we're not going to vote for y'all then. Fuck y'all. We're going to do what leftists did. Y'all going to play in our face? We're going to play in our face and then let the cards fall where they may. Y'all got, like, at least don't make it profitable to ride his jock so that maybe the next time people, y'all have to remember, like, what we see in the Democratic Party a lot of the times is that because of how popular leftist populist policies are, they end up having to shift rhetoric. You can't get any change until the rhetoric starts to change. And eventually, when you try to use that rhetoric and you lie about it, there are consequences. So eventually, logic would have you assume that, okay, I use the rhetoric and lied and had consequences. Eventually, you just got to start passing those policies. You got to start at least inching towards the direction of doing what people tell you to do. So y'all have some control over that. Let's check out these super chats really quick. Perry Stein, the prosecutor in this case, referring to the Israeli case, excuse me, was born in Israel and ran for office based on hate for Muslim Islam. Yep, we talked about that. Showed her video. And once again, literally, judges from both sides of the political spectrum came together and said she was unfit for office. Nico, thoughts on Laura Loomer being a Fed? Yeah, I thought I've already been pretty clear on that. I really thought I tweeted about it, not even like maybe 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, there ain't no way she's not a Fed. This person she's so irrelevant. She's like, okay, so her relevancy comes from kissing Israel's ass and kissing Trump's ass, but principally, if we're being honest, kissing Israel's ass. She's not actually good at anything. She's a horrible public speaker, a horrible presenter. And she looks like if you got a plastic surgery wrong and then you put that person in the microwave after the surgery that you already done fucked up, right? You put that person in the microwave like, damn, maybe if I can heat this up a little bit, it's worse now. That's what she looks like, to be honest with you. And she's an idiot. Have you ever just sat, bro? I tried to sit and listen to 5 minutes of Laura Loomer's show. I just went there, I'm like, damn, bro, does people really like her? Do people really not bots? Because I believe that she mostly gets boosted by bots, by Hasbro bots, basically. And the MAGA bots. I'm like, yo, man, who is paying for this? And shame on Rumble for sponsoring that shit. Fine, because I know that at least she has a deal with them. And I'm listening, bro. I think it was 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and I'm like, ain't no way that people are sitting here and listening to this show for an hour or 2 hours. There's no way. I felt like my brain was melting. My brain felt like how her face looks as I was listening to the show. However she looks, that's how my brain felt. I'm like, yo, this is when I watch shows like that. So for me to get an honest opinion about how others would feel about it, I put myself in the position of somebody who would actually agree with her positions. I put myself in a subjective position so that I can formulate an objective opinion about why this person might be popular, or in this case, why a person might be a Fed. And I'm like, bro, even if I can understand to some degree, for example, why Ben Shapiro is popular. Ben Shapiro makes dumb conservatives feel smart for their stupid ass positions. You get what I'm saying? Y'all understand what I mean when I say that? Laura Loomer got dumb positions. She's dumb as hell. And makes you feel stupider for taking a position. If anything, if I held a position and then I found out that Laura Loomer holds the same position, I'm probably going to switch my position now. Cause I'm like, oh, damn, this dumb bitch agrees with me. That can't be right. Then I need to go back. Maybe I need to do some further research. I need to delve deeper into this issue before I get to support this in public. Because if Laura Loomer supports it, her dumb ass force it can't be right. That's how I feel. That's how I felt after watching the 4 minutes and 15 or 16 seconds of her show. Holy shit. She can't even formulate consecutive, coherent thoughts. And I'm not even joking, y'all. It's like she gets up there, she opens up her Twitter feed and just says shit. Like no preparation, She don't hit that, she don't do no type of, vocal cord work, no vocal work, no reading. She don't even pick out an article. Like, she's like, no, I'm just gonna go up here for hours of change, 2 hours, and wing this shit and basically read my tweets, but on camera for money. And I'm going to somehow be extremely popular while doing so. The only gift that she has is access. The access that she has is what leads people, because that's the only thing that keeps her relevant. And the access that she has is what leads people to wonder if Laura Loomer is in fact a Fed, because there's no one that is that fucking stupid and somehow has this much damn access. You got to be good at selling your stupidity to have that type of access. And I'm like, we get it. There are people who lie and are actually stupid and still have access and get promoted, but it's because they are really good at selling their bullshit. Laura Loomer isn't even good at selling her bullshit and still has access that has put her in this position where she is one of the most influential people in the Trump administration somehow. So that is how I feel about that shit. I can't stand her. I saw somebody mention Elon Musk in a plane situation. What's going on with that? Before I get to this Amanda Zeal. What happened with Elon? I'm not going to say what I wish, but what happened? Somebody let me know in the comment section what happened with Elon, because yo, did his plane not make it? Or am I just that wouldn't be that wouldn't be, that's not my luck. I'm sorry, y'all. I just really can't say that motherfucker. So man, like I said, y'all like this video, share this video. We're gonna move on to our last topic of the day. But probably not the most important, but it's definitely the most important as far as social issues, because first things first, Amanda Seales, y'all, is a dope human being. For those of you who don't know, she's a comedian, right? She's a comedian. Was a TV star. Doesn't get those roles anymore because she basically just would not put up with the bullshit that comes with Hollywood. She would not be complicit in things like the genocide happening in Palestine. She basically, she's what we would say is the type of person that just has 10 toes down. She stands on 10 toes on every single issue she believes in. And when you are an actress, that is completely, totally off base. You are not allowed to do that. You're supposed to shut up about Israel and Palestine and the genocide that they're committing in Palestine. You're supposed to shut up about how Black people are being treated. You're supposed to shut up about police brutality. You're supposed to shut up about anything. And she's a Black woman, right? So she's not allowed to criticize Kamala and Democrats. But even as a Black woman, they expect what you gonna see? We're gonna see that during this video. They like, whoa, liberal. She's like, hold up, double back, mother. I'm not a liberal. Stop with that bullshit. I'm not liberal. She had to say it multiple times. Well, with Democrats, she's like, why y'all keep trying to call me a Democrat? I'm not them. We have, how many times y'all have to, I have to have that conversation with people. I'm not liberal. Well, you Democrats, I'm not a Democrat, bro. In fact, in my lifetime, I've never been a Democrat, ever. Not at one, I didn't have to make that decision. Like after the Bernie situation, bro, I have never been a Democrat, ever. So for a celebrity to come out of her cocoon and blossom into this butterfly for social and political and economic justice in the way that Amanda Seales has, and do it so elegantly and eloquently, it is honestly inspirational and beautiful to see, because and it's like she became more popular after. That's the crazy part. Celebrities are convinced that they would lose out if they were on the right side of history, because that's what the elites would have you believe. But we are in a different era and in a different world. She is more popular now than she was when she was strictly doing comedy and acting and all that good stuff. Now she does speaking engagements to inspire people and educate people, and still does comedy. You know, it's different and it's more political and it's on the side, but like it's amazing. We're trying to work around her schedule to get her on the show. I had the pleasure of going on her show recently, but Amanda's an amazing person, and the way she just dismantles these Black conservatives, y'all. It is a sight to see. So we're not gonna cover everything because it's like a long debate, but we're gonna cover some of the craziest stuff and the wildest responses. And also, we're gonna talk about really how Amanda may have like she just accidentally exposed the high of self-hatred within the Black community, dog. And then also like how too many Black conservatives are Black conservatives because they seem like they just want to fit in. They seem like they feel like they have to take this position, otherwise society will reject them. They don't want to be grouped with those Black people over there. They want to be included with those white people and those Chinese people and those Arabs that they consider to be well-behaved because they feel like they will get rewarded for it. It comes out so often in this debate. It made me cringe. It made me realize why the fuck Wakanda wanted to be hidden and sealed away from the rest of the world. I'm like, you know what? I get it now. I get it, King T'Chaka. You know, I feel T'Challa as well. But, you know, also look at what happened after T'Challa came out and was like, yeah, we want to be part of the world. Now his mom died. His sister out here fighting, trying to keep the damn vibranium in Wakanda, and they trying to steal the shit. It was like, man, we trying to act in good faith, and look what happened. So, like I said, it made me understand why Wakanda wanted to stay sealed away forever. So, let's check it out.
And we don't get things that be prepared. Problem with the Asian hate, let's draft a bill, sign it, and it's done. Anything needs to be done.
By 20 Black conservatives. My first claim is it is undeniable that reparations are just and necessary.
All right, reparations, fair, necessary. My question would be, who's going to get it? Why would?
First of all, how you just gonna automatically move like that's you off rip? You don't know how to respond to her question or her assertion, her claim, and therefore you immediately go, who's gonna get it? That's what we call a red herring. First of all, it had nothing to do with the debate. She asked were they just and necessary? Who would get it? There would be a process to determine that, but whether or not they're just and necessary has actually absolutely nothing to do with that. But here we go.
They get it. And how long are we going to sit here focusing on trying to get reparations? It's been how many years since slavery? 150 years, 1865? Whenever there's a real thing that this country wants to do, they do it. Stop Asian hate. Okay, there's a problem with the Asian hate. Let's draft a bill, sign it, and it's done. Anything needs to be done is done. With us, it's a carrot they dangle in front of us that they don't really want to do. And it's not going to help. We need education. Oh, it's not going to help. No, it's not. We need education. Getting a check.
Bro, first of all, y'all saw the way she looked at him? Money ain't go. Y'all tell me one situation in hey, getting a check right now for y'all, for anybody in the chat. Black, white, Asian, Latino, getting a check, a big ass, fat ass check right now wouldn't help your life. You trying to tell me right now, if somebody's like, hey, bro, here's $50,000, or you will receive $2,000 for the next 25 years, for the next 20, consistently without fail, and we might even raise it with inflation. You trying to tell me that wouldn't solve you need to have a class before that helps you? A person that otherwise maybe wouldn't be able to afford a car now can afford a car and insurance. A person who might be in credit card debt can now afford to pay that credit card debt off. A person who could not afford to buy a house can now buy a house or rent a nicer place or with enough space for their family. Now, what, are you kidding me? Bro, if you live in the United States, don't you ever in your life say cutting the check won't help? Because that's just bullshit. I don't want to hear about it. We can talk about. I'm not saying that it would also help to have financial education classes. That's a true statement for literally everybody in the U.S. though. That's a true statement for everyone who has not had the privilege and the blessing of having an abundance of money in financial education. But also, motherfucker, don't ever tell me in your life that cutting a check in the U.S. won't help somebody's situation. That is a disingenuous lie. I bet if I cut him a check right now, he'd be like, "Shit, boy, I'm about to invest in it. I'm about to do it." Yeah, it will help your situation. I guarantee it. Even if you already have money, cutting a check still helps your situation. The hell, that's a dumb. What are these people? I'm trying to tell you.
From the government is not going to do that. And we need proper education. A lot of us go to these institutions where we're not really prepared, we're not really focused, and we don't get things that'll help us in the real world. So if you want to help Black people, a check from the government, from our tax dollars is going to get raised, because let's be clear, everybody in here is Black. We all American. We all got to pay taxes. It'll go to that. So I don't really see how this is going to help us at all.
I don't. Really quick. It's a weird assumption to believe that everybody's taxes would be raised. Like, why would you have to raise taxes? You just reduce the military budget, right? Like that's an assumption.
Okay. Well, first I'll start with, it will help on even just a moral level. The reality is that the United States has become very comfortable with the fact that it does not consider Black people equal. And it shows that in many ways that I'm sure we will discuss over the course of today. But ultimately, there has not been a committed, concerted effort to shifting the mindset around the use of Black people as a labor force in this nation back when it was slavery, now in the use of slavery as slave labor in prisons. So on a basic cultural level, reparations are an act of repair. They are an effort to say, our bad, we see you now.
Thank you. Reparations, repair. Is it just what is she at? Is it just or not? It is justified. Period. And your argument for like, oh man, whenever this country actually wants to do something, they'll do it. Yeah, motherfucker, that is literally our point, my guy. That's our point. That is the point that we are making. When the country believes that you are entitled, when they believe that you deserved or worthy of repair for the damage that they have done to you, they do something about it. That is the point. Despite the fact that the capital, Washington, D.C., that Trump and his conservative little fucking cultists are out there claiming, oh man, it's a bastion. Look at what our forefathers built. Whose forefathers? We built it. Us. Black people, slaves built that. Y'all are sitting on every landmark, well, not every now because it's a little bit further, but basically every major landmark, including the White House, was built by slaves. You can't touch grass without walking somewhere a slave walked to Washington, D.C. This country would not exist in its current state, or not this country, I live in Brazil, but the U.S. would not exist in its current state without slavery. But beyond that, motherfucker, what about everything that happened afterwards? Reparations is not limited to slavery. That's the other thing that people keep forgetting. They just, because it's the easy, once again, conservative, stereotypical arguments. Lazy with that lack critical thought. Did the wrongs that happened to Black people stop at slavery? I can't tell you, no. I mean, if you want to talk about Jim Crow, we can talk about that. Or what about the Fair Housing Act? Or what about the fact that there was a freaking redlining case that was just charged like a year and some change ago, which means redlining, a Jim Crow policy, is literally still affecting Black people to this day, y'all. But you gon', oh man, when the country wants to do something, they'll do it for you. So it's a waste of time to fight to be treated the same way as literally everybody else. You a dumbass. Like imagine accepting, and then being upset that other people will not accept, being viewed as less than and undeserving as the people to the left or to the right of you, knowing that your people literally built this nation. Whew. That's what I say, bro. That's self-hate, bro. Like this, I don't know what else to call it.
We have seen that done with Japanese folks who were put in internment camps. We have seen that done with Jewish folks. We have seen that done even in the case of slave owners who received reparations. When it comes to the use of tax dollars to pay reparations, and this is going to come up a lot today, it's a matter of values, right? For me, my value system circulates around the fact that I think that as a community, we should all be engaged in repair for our community. So I don't think there should be any problem with there being tax dollars spent at repairing consistent efforts that have been made to impede Black people. So the reparations you're talking about are not just related to slavery. There's reparations that have been discussed all over this nation in different communities as it relates to particular massacres, as it relates to redlining and the impediment of Black people to earn wealth by having property. There's been impediments in various ways that can be repaired. And I want to also just add, there's reparations that are considered a cash payment from a government. There's also the version of reparations that shows up in how funds are applicated to specific groups of people. So there's multiple ways in which what you're stating cannot happen could very well happen.
Okay. First of all, let me just talk about the fact, just from a debater perspective, she actually addressed every point that he made. She addressed what he said, from the checks to the how would it help to the ways that reparations can be instituted, implemented. Like that is a successful argument from a debate perspective. Like she didn't go around, she didn't literally come into the debate or open her side of the debate by dancing around it and trying to basically obfuscate to avoid addressing the original point. It looked like he came there, no matter what her opening argument was, right? No matter what her affirmative argument was, he already had in his head what he was going to say. And he didn't want to address what the original claim. So let's hear how he responds to this.
Okay, now as far as the money going towards certain things is going to help us, let's look at Baltimore Public Schools. They get, I think, the third most money per pupil in the US of A, like $15,000 per student, but yet the majority of the population that comes from that environment can't read, they're illiterate. So we're dumping money on the situation, yes, but yet we're not getting the results we should get from it. Money's not going to help the thing. We need to just focus on what we need to focus on. As far as Black people being labor force of this country,
we need to focus on what we need to focus on. Well, that's a quote, I guess. Also, once again, the US government admittedly dumps money on things all the time, which is also part of the reason why we say direct cash payments instead of financing institutions, rather. That's why a lot of people say that, because we know that the US government full of shit. Like, I lived in Florida, bro. I watched the district of David Wasserman Schultz and the school district there, bro. It was a big ass scandal, bro. They were stealing like $2 million from the students. Dead ass. Like, yeah, we know. So you're going to tell us the government's corrupt? Yeah, we're aware of that. Okay, and that are reparations just? And are you really addressing the root of the problem? So the root of the problem would be the same corruption that is denying Black people the reparations that they are justly owed. So you making an argument for her, really? Just saying.
What else are we doing? We got 25% of us on some kind of government assistance. 1 out of every 3 Black men will go to jail. We got to do something. We got to work with our hands, work with tools, do something, because we're not doing much of anything. And also, one more piece here. Reparations, again, always dangling in front of us, never going to happen as long as you've been living, as long as I've been living, as long as everybody been living.
So everybody knows, if you don't believe that the side that is fighting, that the oppressor, basically, if you don't believe your oppressor will treat you equally, then ladies and gentlemen, you should just stop fighting and let it happen. Man, can you imagine if Harriet Tubman was just like, yo, man, they ain't gonna end slavery, dog. We just gotta shut we gotta shut it all down, man. We gotta shut it down, dog. They're not gonna end slavery, man. So we just gotta give it up. Come on, bro. That's crazy.
They say we need it, and it never gets done. One more piece.
You just said one more piece, then you're adding another one.
I promise.
So hold on to it. No, hold on to it.
I'm gonna land the plane. I'm gonna land the plane. I promise. Reparations is a thing. Like I said, it's a carrot that dangling in front of us. They're never really going to get it done. And if it was going to get done, it would have already been done. It's just something that they're using to try and make us stay Democrat. That's what I wanted to say.
Well, Democrats
yeah, we
are
got the classic, right? They're using it to make us stay Democrat. Yeah, she's not a Democrat, though. I'm not a Democrat. I would say that the majority of ADOS at this point probably aren't Democrats. ADOS, like the people who actively advocate for reparations, most of them don't fuck with Democrats, actually. That was a whole thing. They even at one point were saying that ADOS was actually just a fake movement that was created by Russia. I remember that. But like these are lazy talking points. As hell. Lazy as hell, dog. And apparently somebody said in the chat that this dude got a podcast. I'm trying to tell you, look, real talk. It would be so easy for me to get rich off of being a black conservative, dog. I could make the argument better than they could, to be completely honest with you. I don't got it in me to be self-hating race trader. I just don't, even if it wasn't black, like I just don't have it in me to advocate against my people, like against the working class. I can't do it because it will be working class conservatives basically, talking about dangling the carrot. They think they're going to be Elon Musk if they shut up, be nice, and kiss white man's ass. They think they're going to be Elon Musk. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Okay. All right, that's all I'm saying. You think you're different, but you're not. You're not going to be Elon Musk, bro. They lucky they let Oprah join the party. She got to sell out. That's all she be around is other white people. Every time they let one of us enter the billionaire club, you basically just be around other white people. Like, hey, and you gonna do what the hell we say? Because that billion is not really a billion, and it's not really your money. We just letting you hang out here because it's always good to say you got one black friend, so that people think we're not racist. It's like we let that one black president get in, so people thought the country's not racist anymore.
Doing reparations either. This is nonpartisan. This is black partisan, baby. Okay. Well, this is nonpartisan.
Who do we vote for? Who do we vote for 90% of the time? There's no incentive.
To be quite honest, you're not talking to a Democrat. You're talking to a radical.
Okay, but let's land this plane very quickly. Who do we vote for?
Let's land this plane quickly.
Who do we vote for?
You're talking to a radical, not a Democrat.
Okay, and you are your own person.
Let me tell you something now. I don't know what they told you, but if they told you that cutting me off is how I was going to get clicks, stop it now.
Oh,
that's not how we're going to. That's not how we're going to interview.
We having a debate.
A debate does not require continuously cutting somebody off.
Okay, no problem.
Now, I do want to state this. You're stating things as it relates to how money is not fixing a problem without acknowledging the fact that the problem doesn't exist in a vacuum and that there are so many other factors that are determining how that money is getting spent to impede it from actually fixing a problem. You can put all the money into Baltimore public schools you want, but if you are also putting all this money into policing, into communities that are not getting resources, then you are also creating your own conundrum. The other part of this is that when you're saying they, the they is a broad context. And the last part of this that I will say is that you keep saying they're dangling this in our face. They're dangling in our face. Slavery lasted for 400 years. It hasn't even been 400 years since slavery. So should we be only fighting for a quarter of the time to get repair?
All right. I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority. All right. Please return to your seat.
Okay.
That's crazy. That's the thing I liked about this particular style was like you got a bunch of people who agree with you and you're trying to make an argument on behalf, like you're making the same argument as them for the most part, right? And they listening to you talk. You're like, hey, bro, you embarrassing us. Get the fuck up out of here. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of like that format. Like if you're gonna have 1 on 20, like I do like the format where everybody who agrees with you is telling you, dog, you ain't. This ain't it, dog. Let somebody else get up there and give it a go. Take him out the game, coach.
My name is Matt Nuclear.
Hello, Matt. Matt
Sure.
Nuclear?
Matt Nuclear, yes.
Matt Nuclear, give me a better handshake on that. Let's do it.
I appreciate having this conversation with a beautiful black woman like yourself. This is nice, beautiful arena here. I disagree that reparations are necessary. I think the most important thing that's necessary right now for the black community would be the stopping of violence, especially.
So let me just say right now. So this man knew he was going to be debating Amanda Seals. He knew that this was going to be, this video was viewed over 1 million times. 1.2, probably be 2 million by the end of the week. I knew that he was going to bring up some bullshit. His argument was going to be trash because look at his haircut. I knew that there was going to be at some point. That's why I had to talk about this. I saw the haircut. You didn't go get an edge up before this situation. You're not one of us, right? Like there's, like I said, I got black conservative friends, y'all. I do. I really do. Like, and they actually are commonsensical, even if we disagree on some issues. If they're gonna go to this, they're gonna get an edge up beforehand. I know that we not from the same, we don't got the same tapestry. We don't got the same background. We don't got the same experiences. So I know whatever the hell this guy's about. When I listened to his voice, I'm like, hold up. Cause I was like listening in the background and I'm like, yo, what the? Oh, this is about to be ugly. This is going to be a beatdown. Ain't no way he about to come here and give her a challenge. And I'm sure that he's from some white town that we probably never heard of. And I think all of it turned out to be true. Like, would your barber be proud of this situation right now? If the answer is no, then I already know what your argument's about to be, and it's already over. I really don't got to listen to it, but I'm going to listen to it anyway because it's hilarious.
Black on black violence. I don't see how reparations is going to solve anything. You can give everyone here like a $50,000 check, especially people that are in the streets who are committing violent crimes consistently. A $50,000 check, it's not going to fix anything. It's not going to increase.
Once again, never in your life. If you were trying to make I don't give a damn what, it don't got to be about reparations. But if you're going to debate anybody about anything, never in your life, just from the perspective as an American, as a debater, as a person who also needs money to live, don't start your argument off with $50,000 won't help anything. Boy, you dumb. That is a dumb ass. Never in your life. $50,000 to everybody isn't going to help anything. What? It's not going to help anybody. That's not going to help. If your answer is it's not going to help sufficiently, maybe we can have that debate, but you're going to say that's not going to do anything. Get up out of my face, you dumbass. I bet you give him $50,000 right now, bitch, that motherfucker would jump for joy. He be like, my life has changed. I guarantee you. You going to make the argument. If we can give everybody $50,000, I wouldn't change anything.
The median household income in the next 10 years by 10% or 20%. For example, we have the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. We prevented Chinese people from getting citizenship and even entering the country. We discriminated against them and basically put them under apartheid, even here in the United States. Yet they have the highest median household income. How is that possible? How come they don't complain and feel entitled consistently to beg for reparations and beg for this when they are killing each other 90% of the time, which is the rate that Black people kill each other, according to the FBI.
So let me be clear about something, y'all. Chinese people actually didn't have law, like during the 90s, or excuse me, the 1900s, excuse me. Y'all are familiar with the concept of model minority, right? So like in this case, so the East Asians, Desi, so Indians, Indians, somebody from Bangladesh, that area, Arabs, they were not subjected to the same discriminatory laws that we were. They were not subjected to redlining like we were. Okay? And also, at least in modern day, like if you're talking about 50, 60, 70 years, the Chinese people who were able to come here, for the most part, and make way for themselves, they not only were they not hindered, but they had the means. Like, bro, they weren't brought here on slave ships either. But all right. And they can go back to their country if they chose to. Most of us, we had our identity stripped from us during slavery. So like, how I'm gonna go back? He can go back to whatever African country he's from. I think it was Angola or Mozambique. I think it was a Portuguese speaking nation, if I'm not mistaken. That's why I remembered it. But that is like literally apples and oranges, my guy.
Oh, young Matt.
Yet white people are the oppressors.
I'm not sure where your education came from, but they lied to you.
Stats don't lie, though.
Statistics lie all the time. So let's start there, particularly when the statistics are coming from the sources that gain from the statistics being shown a different way. So if you're going to start your argument on stats don't lie, you've already lost the argument. They lie. They lie.
Facts. Stats do lie. And the FBI lies all the time. And also, like, the police lie. Like, police will hide their stats. I mean, this is a fact. Multiple police departments have been accused and caught over the years of manipulating data to justify why they're over policing certain communities, stopping this race more than the other. Like, that's a fact. That's a fact, guys. So she's correct.
All the time. One, comparing Chinese people who are immigrants that made a choice to come to the United States and comparing the continued effort of Black people to ground themselves in a nation that continues to make impediments for them to show and live and exist in their true citizenship is a false equivalency.
I don't believe that happens at all. What? No one here is
Are you acting right now? Do you really believe
I'm telling
this?
the truth. There's no systemic racism that I've experienced here in America.
There's no systemic racism that he's experienced. First of all, your barber racist for letting you leave like that, because ain't no way that he thought that you was going to be able to go back and hang out with Black people and nobody's going to roast your ass. God damn. With that top back ass, boy, look like you just let the top back on the Mercedes ass hairline, boy. But it's broken. Like, it's just like he pressed the button, but the dealership didn't actually fix the problem. So it's just halfway. Like, what? I've never experienced any. Here we go with that bullshit. I've never experienced any. I guarantee you have, and you didn't even know. Because he looks like a younger guy. I experienced racism in high school from debate coaches from my school and other schools, and I didn't even know. I didn't even know what was happening because my debate coach protected me from it, didn't even tell me about it because he didn't want me to be permanently affected. He didn't tell me about it until I was 25 years old, y'all. So that whole like confirmation bias, I haven't experienced racism. You probably have, you just didn't know it. You probably have and you just didn't know it, but either way, that argument is dumb. I didn't experience it, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. That is a lazy, once again, just from a purely debate perspective, that's a dumbass argument to make. Don't ever make it.
What system is racist? I think the only racism we've actually seen recently, systemic racism that we've seen, is the application of systemic racism against white people. The University of Western Washington, for example, has been trying to segregate dormitories, using Black-only dormitories because Black people feel safer amongst each other, but they're more likely to kill each other.
Super weird how he didn't mention the Jewish Zionist situation amongst universities, huh? Super weird how he didn't mention the reparations that are being paid out to employees and professors at Columbia, while simultaneously being denied to family members who have legitimate connections to the Tulsa, Oklahoma massacre. Literally, within a month of each other, those decisions were made. Interesting that you find the statistics you choose that help your argument. That's basically what the lesson is here. That's why it's dangerous to just try to find a statistic rather than using logic and reasoning.
Than white people are able to kill them. That's just the truth. You have King Von rapping about killing other Black men. Why should I think that the white man is the oppressor when Black men are more likely to kill me?
Oh my
Tell
God, this is scary. You need to think about me as your mama. Do not talk to me in that fashion. So let's check that now. Okay. So on a basic level, we have to understand that systemic racism is grounded in the realities that Black people have not been considered an equal human being in this country since its onset. So there's simply no way to make the argument that there isn't systemic racism when we have seen in very clear ways the system operate in an organically racist way. Do not cut me off. When we talk about systemic racism, we can start with even the fact that redlining, which was implemented to discriminate Black communities. Are you shaking your head that redlining doesn't exist?
No, I'm saying I don't think it really existed at all.
Y'all. You know, they say that like usually African immigrants, like first generation African American or American Africans rather, they're usually really intelligent, usually. And this man just came on this show in front of millions of viewers And his own fellow conservatives, I'm sure, shook their head too. I ain't gonna cap. Even they were probably like, you did not just say that shit. Like, bro, you're not helping us. You did not just come on here and say that redlining doesn't exist and it didn't exist. You know what? This is one of those situations where we're gonna have to, because I need y'all to understand. I need y'all to understand how, like, it doesn't just exist. Even though it was outlawed, right? It was outlawed and continued. And then they had to readdress it again because, like, after it was outlawed by, like, federally, after it was federally outlawed, it kept happening. You know, the last case of redlining happened, y'all? October 19th, 2023. It was a $9 million settlement with the Ameris Bank to resolve the allegations of redlining in a predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida. 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Not 1923, not 1823, 2023, and it was a settlement, which means it probably should have been worse, but they settled it so it wouldn't be huge news because of how, because it's redlining has been illegal, but still happens, and they probably settled it because then you start because what happens is some of these banks, they get caught redlining in multiple areas. The bigger the bank, the more likely they are to be redlining in multiple areas in multiple states. So in situations like this, they just settle fast as shit. So that people don't, the courts don't dig more into their paperwork, or that other people don't feel like they should start filing lawsuits for redlining. 2023. And this motherfucker, he really just sat up here and said, I just don't think redlining exists. Like, so I saw somebody in the chat say he a paid actor. Gotta be.
No, I don't think so at all.
So it does exist. And stating that it doesn't exist doesn't make it no longer exist. Redlining absolutely exists. It is not something that's being made up. It's an empirical fact.
Yeah,
and there are realities that exist.
waving the flag. She said, nah, get him up out of here, nah. You killing us, nah.
Because of redlining. We know that school systems are related to the way that property taxes are affecting the school systems. If a school system is not getting the same property value as the property taxes allow it, then it's not going to have the same efficacy at allowing for students to be able to get what they deserve. When we talk about systemic racism, we have to acknowledge that these private prisons are literally built based on the test scores of school students in 3rd grade. So if you are literally building prisons with the onset of, okay, if these people are not reaching a certain reading level, then we know that they're going to go down a prison industrial pipeline where we can use their free labor. Then how is that not systemic? And if you want to
stop them from entering prisons,
how are you going to stop people from entering prisons if your goal is to get them into prison?
Sure, make them try to be more like Ben Carson than be like King Von. That's very
bro. What? First of all, me and my son throwing hands if he think he gonna grow up in this house like Ben Carson. First of all, and we also gonna throw hands if he think he gonna grow up like King Von. But let me be very clear about something. So once again, haircut, right? Like I told you at the beginning, he keeps mentioning King Von. This is what happens whenever you do your research based on TikTok, Instagram, and X, right? Because that's clearly, like, he basing off of some conservative algorithm, probably in his age range. He keeps bringing up King Von, and King Von is from Chi-Town, from Chirac, and from the worst part of Chicago, or at least one of the worst parts. King Von is dead, y'all. He keep bringing up King Von like he's some influence, like today. King Von is dead. Has been dead for years now. That's probably why some of y'all have like, why he keep bringing up this dude I've never heard of. Some of you, probably a lot of you, have never heard of him because he's dead. He's not an influence on anybody anymore. He's dead now. And he keeps bringing him up like what? He's dead. I'm not joking. Like, King Von is dead. He's a rapper. That's who he's referring to. Or rather, once again, he was a rapper. And oftentimes, King Von, even amongst people in the hood, is used as the example of what can happen if you don't turn your life around and you keep engaging in that type of behavior. Like, he's used as the example of how you can end up dead real quick at a young age, which you would know if you were actually around other Black people. Or went to a barber, it looked like your mama cut your hair, fucking Don Lemon ass, CNN haircut. But I do want to point out too, Amanda's argument was chef's kiss. Why? Because she didn't rely on statistics. She relied on the facts as they are and then use logic to link all of those facts so that it's undeniable. It's like when you have these things, this is a fact, this is a fact, and this is a fact. You know, because you can debate the legitimacy of statistics, but you cannot debate that they do use third grade grades to determine whether or not somebody's going to end up in prison. That is a fact. So, and you cannot deny the fact that the people who are going to profit off of that, they're going to incentivize the criminality. They're going to incentivize poor test scores. They're going to incentivize poor situations and circumstances because they make money from the prisons. It's fucking logic. I don't have to know a statistic other than Black people are disproportionately put in these situations at high rates to know that. But you also, I don't have to know the statistic about Black people to know that they're targeting them. I can look at redlining, which is a law, or rather is a policy. Illegal now, but still happens. I can look at redlining. I can look at the prisons, and who was in the prisons. I can look at the school districts. Like, I don't have to look at the statistics themselves. I can look at everything and be like, hold on, there's one thing in common here. That's when you use logic to win your arguments. And logic, once again, I mean, you can deny it, but it can't be denied. Just because you deny it, don't mean it can truly be denied. That's what makes her rebuttal so just. I loved it.
Very simple.
So how does King Von happen? How does King Von happen?
King Von
reparations.
Hold on,
actually, no. Let me land the plane. Yeah. We're talking about reparations, and what you're doing is actually just trying to get this conversation off the facts. And the fact is, reparations are just and necessary because on a basic level, Black people built this country and the country continues to thrive off of the labor that Black people put into this country. And it would behoove you, young man, to really understand the way that your ancestors put blood, sweat, and tears into this nation that is still living off of those blood, sweat, and tears. And let me also add, there are reparations and then there is remunerations. Do you know the difference?
Yes, but can I finish one point that I wanted to say?
Question.
Ben Carson's cousins were killed at a very young.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out by the majority. Okay. Please return to your seat.
I hope some of y'all are acting. I really do. We in LA, and I hope some people in here are acting.
Bruh. She said, how does the King Von get made? I saw this video on Instagram. I know inherently, but I saw this video on understand economics better than economists do. Basically, they use this quote from Freeway. Basically, he's talking about how my stomach started growling, and my in more or less words. Y'all know it's like, even though what we do is wrong. Go read the lyrics. He basically is explaining in more or less words. Yeah, motherfucker, if I'm poor, I'm going to find a way, however it may be, to resolve that. And this is a consistent theme amongst rappers, especially from that era. They explain to you why. Like, this is what happens. If I can't meet my basic needs or I can't meet the basic needs of my family, this is what happens. Even though what we do is wrong. Hey, look, this is what it's going to be until it gets resolved.
Oh, what's that on your chain?
This is corn from Israel.
Lord have mercy.
Yes, you gotta go.
That's a choice that you are making for yourself.
Yes.
That's the choice that you're making for yourself. That was the most like, I don't know what I'm going to say about this. I'm just going to say, that's a choice that you're making for yourself. I'm just going to just state a material fact and move on. That is like a man probably being the most reserved that you could possibly be in that situation. Because boy, look, might as well been like, what the do you know what Israel's doing to black people? Do you know how they see you, dog? All right.
The thing with the whole reparations thing, and I don't know, we're probably close to the same age, so maybe you can't call me.
How old are you?
I'm 32.
I'm 44.
Oh, really? Oh, you look young.
Thank you. That's what water and keeping stress out of your life will do.
Really? Liberal positions are real stressful.
By the way, I wouldn't know. I'm not a liberal. Carry on.
Well, it's the liberal position because conservatives believe in hard work. We believe in going to work and working for what you got, not asking for handouts from people who never had slaves. Some of the people that you're asking for money from never had slaves. Okay. And let's talk about the fact there were also black people that had slaves. So if you want to talk about,
once again, this is why you don't go. This is why you don't go to Twitter to get your information.
How is that fair? If I'm a white person and my family fall on the side of the Union, why should I have to pay for slaves when this whole country was never all racist? Some of the founding fathers were abolitionists, and they hated slavery, and they actually put things in the Declaration of Independence and things too, because they believed that there'll be a future where there would be a black president one day, or that there would be people in leadership that were black.
No, actually, that's no. Do y'all remember like the whole problem with the Constitution was that it literally only applied to white male landowners? Y'all realize that, right? Because he's like, they put stuff in the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, no, that applied to white male landowners. You hear what I'm saying, y'all? Like, that's not hyperbole. Like, white women weren't even allowed to own slaves. They weren't allowed to own property. You hear what I'm saying? Honestly, this argument that black people own slaves, I don't really know where that came from. I don't know where it's coming from. Because like it is just a material fact that black people during slavery were legally not allowed to own property, and slaves were considered property. So it's like, unless somebody retroactively went back and be like, oh, actually, this black person working for the other black person was a slave, like to reverse engineer this, this anti-reparations argument. That's the only thing I can think of, because during slavery, no one was allowed to own property if you weren't a white man. So this is a fact. But hey, we're gonna let them cook that unseasoned ass food that he making.
There was people in the North who helped with the Underground Railroad and fought with the Union. So why is that fair for people who never had slaves, who fought against slavery, to have to pay for people that had slaves?
Just really quick, when a cop in your city commits police brutality, found guilty or settles out of court, who pays for that? Did you commit the police brutality? Did you shoot somebody? But who pays for it? And the reason why is that it should be an incentive, because the taxpayers, if it's a city, it's usually the city. If it's a sheriff or state trooper, state. Okay, who pays for it? Taxpayers. Is an incentive to make sure that your motherfuckers is acting right, so that people who don't deserve to be paying for your mistakes and your problems and your lack of accountability don't have to be accountable for your problematic ass behavior. That's what happens. It's how matter of fact, y'all know how many times the government's had to pay out shit? Federal government pays out settlements and shit all the time because they get sued. Who do y'all think paid for that? We do. It's our money. State, local, federal. And y'all be looking up shit and be like, damn, I had to pay for that, for real. Only when it comes to your people getting paid. That's when you do your due diligence on where the potential money is going to. Boy, you got more sympathy for the people that might be inconvenienced by $2 more a year on their taxes, or $2 more a year out of their paycheck, than the motherfuckers who are descendants of slaves and have been systemically, historically oppressed. Like, yo, people, that's weird. That's weird as hell, bro. I don't get it. Like, you more like, oh man, but they might have to like pay like $2 more in taxes a year. Oh, for them. Did you think about them? No, I'm out here thinking about like the people that just got redlining, that just got in 2023, the people that are still suffering from Jim Crow, the people who are still being disproportionately held in prisons, the slave labor that's in Alabama, where they're sending people to work for McDonald's for pennies on the fucking dollar and then denying them parole because corporations are paying the state politicians to keep them in prison. That's what I'm worried about. I'm sorry that your tax might go up $2. I'm sorry. But I don't really give a shit. I'm worried about repairing and reparative justice. Not just in my case, but in all cases where it's necessary.
From my understanding, you are more interested in preserving the fairness of those who didn't have slaves than the fairness of those who are the descendants of slaves. That is priority to you than finding a fair way to accommodate those who have been the descendant of slaves.
Well, our ancestors wasn't asking for handouts. They were asking for equal opportunity, and we have equal.
Are we not? I think that he was he asleep for the other part of the base? Where she was like, yeah, man, here are all the examples where reparative and restorative justice were implemented, and we are not being given that same opportunity to have reparative and restorative justice. You idiot.
Opportunity in this country. We had a black president, just in case you didn't know.
Oh,
we had a black president.
Oh, we had one black president who literally brought slavery back to Africa after he helped overthrow Gaddafi and assassinate him. We had one half black president who wasn't even raised by his black African father, whose mother was part of the CIA, which is probably the only reason he was allowed to be the president to begin with. That is we had the one black friend. I'm not racist. Y'all don't even watch like satire. Like, you can at least watch black satire to know what argument is not to make before you come out here and embarrass yourself. Oh, shit. Like, even black satire would tell you, do not make the one black friend argument. Don't make the one black president argument. That's not going to work against somebody who literally has 2 brain cells.
Had a black vice president. I mean, I think she was black. They said she was black. I don't know. So we had a black president, and you know who voted for that black man? White people, because you can't win a popular election in this country without white people. So Barack Obama is the product of white people. So let's get off this.
Unironically, and ironically, I guess it's true. Barack Obama is the product of white people, but not in the way to eat things. It ain't how you framing it. Like, yeah, he is a product of white people. That is the fucking problem, actually, with Barack Obama, is he is the product of white people, but not in the way that he believes.
Where, oh, America is so racist. What's making America so racist is people that continue to talk about racism and continue to focus on racism instead of focusing on unity and bringing our country forward. People that have these liberal mindset are infecting our communities, black people, and making us victims and not victors. I refuse to embrace a victim mentality, because that's not what our grandparents and Harriet Tubman and those people fought for. They fought for equal opportunity. Do not bring up Harriet
Tubman's name in vain, baby. Please.
Let's say the Lord's name in vain. The Lord's name.
Boy, do not bring a Harriet Tubman's name in vain, boy. Let thy train from thy underground railroad run you the fuck over if you gonna try to use Harriet Tubman's name to deny somebody reparations. Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Literally saving her family and others from slavery.
Yeah. You know who helped her? White people.
You know who helped her?
They were on the Underground Railroad.
Come on in. You know who helped her?
Come on in.
No, you know who helped her?
God.
People who benefit
my
from
God.
white supremacy. One of the things
It's a lie. White supremacy is a lie.
No, sir,
It's
that's
a
simply
lie.
not
There's
true.
no such. I mean,
If that were not the case, then we wouldn't see the continued effort of colonialism and white people placing themselves in positions of power when they do not have the power.
Because their culture, Black culture, is toxic.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, yeah, he's a crazy Zio. That's the only like white supremacy is a lie. You can't be a Zionist, and he came in with the Israel star. You can't be a Zionist without believing that white supremacy is a lie. You can't be. Those two things don't mix. As we say in Brazil, não bate certo não. It don't work. So of course you believe white supremacy is a lie. Otherwise you wouldn't be out there sporting a goddamn Israel chain. But like I also view somebody else said in the comments, yeah, ask Chris Smalls how Israel treats Black people. Ask Chris Smalls. They fucked my man up so bad, he was talking like 50 Cent for 2 weeks after he got back. Ask Chris Smalls how they treat Black people. He was with a bunch of other people, but they had Arabs to fuck with. They said, man, we ain't gonna fuck with the Arabs like this. We hate Arabs. But them niggas, for you to have the audacity to think that you can come here and make some type of change, that you can affect this genocide, yeah, we got something for your ass. Ask Chris Smalls. Dumbass boy, white supremacy is white supremacists is probably somewhere watching this shit laughing at. He thinks that white supremacy is a that boy dumb, boy. I'm glad he playing for our team, though. I'm glad he playing for our team. But that boy dumb as hell, though. Like, you supposed to know you supposed to know the truth, even if you're gonna tell a lie. But you can tell in his soul, he believes this shit. He actually believes it. There are Black people who will say white supremacy never existed and doesn't exist, or they'll say it ended with slavery. But they know what they like. Let's be real. Like the grift that Candace Owens put on forever, basically. Well, not forever. So she was an Obama supporter, and then a Bernie supporter, and then a Trump supporter. So around that time, after she made her third shift, right, that was her grift, right? The white supremacy doesn't. She know. We know Candace Owens is actually intelligent enough to know that she bullshitting because she's pivoted for her whole career when it was the right time to pivot. That's what she does. Let's be real about it, okay? But even she know when she says it, yeah, I'm bullshitting. This guy actually believes this shit. That's just, like I said, they look like, I'm glad he's on our team, dumbass motherfucker.
Black culture is toxic. We have produced a culture that is toxic, and let's get on the fact that there's no fathers in the Black home. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
None of this is gonna work.
I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt one more time. Because as a Black father, that shit had me like, what? First of all, y'all know, speaking of statistics, there was a study done that showed that Black fathers are actually, in 2020, well, it was 2024 when they did the study, but they are the most active in their homes. Black fathers are actually the most active. They're the most active fathers in their homes now. That he like in the 90s it was a different story. In the 90s and the 80s, because the Black fathers were in the homes religiously, then taken out of their homes through various ways, war on drugs, redlining, just all. Because also divorce that was caused by income, and everybody knows the number one reason divorces happen is income, right? Y'all do know that. Okay, cool. So actually, no, Black fathers are actively involved in their kids' lives. And to be like, oh man, my grandfather believed in working hard. No, Black people still, we overwork. We're still required to do 2 times the work for a fraction of the reward. We have a overworking. We have a complex. Actually, I had to tear myself away from the shit. My mom still has it. My family has it. We overwork actually, and we take days off. Like if you own a business or something like that, or you do something by you're running something, or you have a flexible schedule, and you're not working 12 hours that day, you start beating yourself the fuck up. It is a problem in the Black community actually. It's the truth, because we know the obstacles that stand in front of us. To insinuate otherwise is ludicrous, actually. Like, it makes me wonder how many black people you know. To be completely honest. That's what, bro, do you know how hard it is to be a damn drug dealer, y'all? Do you know how hard it is to be a drug dealer? Bro, they'll tell you in the damn song. Bro, I be up at 5 a.m. till 11 p.m. Literally walking up and down the street, getting money, doing the same thing the next day, doing the same thing the next day. Oh, I can't turn my phone off because I'm not about to miss this bag, dog. Do you like just being a drug dealer, like they're doing illegal shit? Black people can't, like they won't turn it off. They're like, yo, I gotta get this money. And being like, nah, like, oh yeah, we just don't like working hard now. That's what the problem is. It didn't call out our culture toxic. Bro, last time I checked, we're not the ones genociding motherfuckers across the world. We want the Nazis? That wasn't us. That was not us. We didn't create this cocaine culture. That was them. Remember? We couldn't afford it. We ain't had no connects. The plug didn't become the plug until the CIA wanted us to have a plug. Hollywood is ran by who? And I'll tell you who. It rhymes with who. It ain't ran by us. And Hollywood culture has corrupted society so much in various ways. You ain't talking about how toxic that culture is and the people responsible for it. And we don't see any negative impact from the toxicity of their culture. Why? Because they benefit. Because they don't have the negative impact, because they've tipped the scales in their favor to avoid the negative and reverberating impact of their actions and the toxicity. That's the only reason you don't talk about the toxicity. The problem is we take one step forward, we can get pushed 2 steps back, or fuck. In some cases, depending on the state you live in, push down the goddamn stairs. Even if you do everything right. Even if you do everything right. But it's our culture that's toxic. You don't believe the culture that convinced you that white supremacy is a myth? It's a toxic culture? Come on, bro. What we talking about? Hell we talking about, bro. Hell we talking about. That's why I said this is like Amanda did something during this, because we don't. So the thing that I've always said is like, I want to see black radicals, black leftists who understand these issues, the intricacies of these issues, sit down in a room like this. And it will, because the top will be blown off. The top will be blown the fuck off. And I said they've been able to dodge this for so long. The closest they get to something like this is a Mark Lamont Hill. And we already know he gonna get it right until he gets it wrong every time. There's a limit to Mark Lamont Hill. There's no limit to the advocacy of Amanda Seals. That's the difference. And so 10 toes with intellect and logic is undefeated every time. And it's going to expose some shit that's deeper than the facts that are given, than the stuff that they're saying. It's going to expose something wrong with the psyche of the people that are talking. And you can see it in their eyes as they're talking to this black woman who doesn't have the exact same experience as them, but has a similar experience as them. You know, it's unique, but it's the same. Or else there wouldn't even be this conversation being had. And as they're saying the words out loud, they are seeing. Oh, shit. Like, shit. Well, I can't stop now. I know this shit that I'm saying sounds dumb as hell. Not that I'm saying it in front of somebody that knows what they're talking about, and I just heard the arguments that she made. I know I sat in this chair because I thought I was going to be famous afterwards, but I'm realizing right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a dumbass argument. But so let me speak more passionately. Let me cut her off. Let me make the same argument again, but just more forcefully this time. Because they know I just got exposed. Actually, everything I think I understood about the world just got exposed. That's why it's important for somebody like Amanda, a celebrity who made the choice to say, fuck this shit, but still has a popularity and became even more popular afterwards, to sit in a room full of people who fucking hate themselves. Because you didn't even know you hated yourself. You are ashamed of your experience and you hope that you will be rewarded for rejecting who you are. And you didn't realize that until you sat in front of somebody who embraced themselves for everything they are. You're realizing it right now, in real time, in front of millions of viewers. Congratulations.
If y'all are just gonna sit here and make up shit,
it's
not gonna work. No, a debate has to be in facts.
You're
you
putting
are
off
literally
emotional liberalism.
I am
right
not
now.
putting off emotional liberalism. You're putting off
What is
unfounded
emotional
lies
liberalism?
That's what y'all
based
do. Y'all
in
start saying
conservatism.
misinformation. Remember they
It
did the
is
misinformation thing all summer where everything
Look at this
conservative
man.
did. They said
You're carrying a chain around your neck of an apartheid nation that actively wants to harm Black people and
What about the
non-Jewish
apartheid?
people.
What
But
about
let
when-
me
You
bring
can't.
it back.
What about apartheid? No, you in the chain of apartheid, bro. And you like, what about apartheid? No. Let's address the fact that you are literally wearing the chain of an apartheid country first. Then we can talk about the what about. Explain why you support apartheid before you try to criticize another apartheid that probably doesn't exist that he just made up in his fucking mind. Boy, I'm trying to tell you. Guys. It'd be crazy out here.
Let me bring it back.
Selling Black people
Let me
in
bring
Africa
it. That was not happening in the context that you're saying.
And they were selling
Let's
their
bring
own
it
people.
back.
Black people still sell their own people today too. By
I don't
the
know
way.
if I'm gonna last.
We're selling our own people today
I don't know if I'm gonna
You
last.
probably won't last with me.
I won't because your ignorance is so overwhelming.
See, y'all, that's liberals. Y'all start name calling when y'all getting defeated.
Remember what I said at the beginning that he didn't listen? You could tell by the arguments that he made that he didn't listen to the first couple of debates. Why? He keeps calling her liberal. She made it very clear she's not. He didn't come there to listen and debate. He came here to argue. And this is what happens when your argument gets broken into 1,000 pieces. Then you just sound like a rambling idiot. He did not sleep well that night. I'm sure he went back and watched the video and he did not sleep well.
Colin, you won't have an argument because you keep cutting me off.
Oh, well, that's fine. If they don't let me come back on, I made my point.
You didn't make your point.
I made my point.
You haven't made your point. And let me just tell you about your point. You started off saying, we believe in hard work.
Yeah.
And we believe in being compensated.
Reparations is not, though. Reparations is not hard work. It's stealing. It's Robin Hood.
You said you believe in hard
You said Robin Hood? Does he understand the irony of that? Okay, if it's so you robbing from the rich and giving to the poor, especially the poor that are actually deserving. Okay, like that's a bad thing?
hard work.
Yes.
And you believe in being compensated for hard work.
Yes.
Were slaves compensated for their work?
They weren't compensated for their work. But why should people who are sitting at home playing video games, smoking marijuana?
Are you sitting at home playing a video game? Are you sitting at home playing a video game?
The people that they're wanting
Am
reparations
I sitting at home playing a video game? No.
The people
And I don't know
I
don't know who these people are that you're talking about, because the majority of the Black community is not sitting at home playing video games.
The majority of the Black community is doing a lot of things.
Where are you getting that statistic?
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
I knew I was going to be
I can't believe it took that long, to be completely honest.
surrounded by ignorance, but damn, let's go.
Damn, boy. Hey, what I tell you? You see, look at my man's face, the African with the bad barber. That boy looking like, hey, bro, I can't believe I really just came here. Like, I really thought I understood everything about the Black community. I really thought I knew I was a Black conservative. All my friends said it was cool. Well, at least my white friends did. And now I'm kind of re-questioning everything about my existence.
Hello. My hand's wet from the bottle.
My hands are sweaty.
This
'cause I'm
person
nervous.
actually,
We both
if I'm not
are
mistaken,
sweaty.
asked
Okay.
legitimate questions.
So I just wanted clarity because I think it'd be helpful. You said radical. I wanted just clarity on that. And then also with the reparations, you said it's not just money, it's other things. I just want to know, like, what do you see as like the grand picture of what would help?
The grand picture of what would help?
Of reparations, like what does that look like to you?
Oh, great. Reparations, what reparations looks like to me is a combination of reparations and remunerations. And reparations are about repair for damages that have been caused based on harm. Remunerations is a monetary response to work that has not been paid for. So if you come and paint my house and I don't pay you, you can take me to court and get remunerations for the work that you have done. So we're actually owed both in this nation as Black people. And there are incredibly just clear-cut records that show the buying and selling and purchasing of slaves, the work that was done, also the intellectual property that was stolen from slaves, right? Because there was so much inventing that was happening. And there is also quite a bit of other reparations that are being discussed as it relates to property being stolen, as it relates to, again, redlining and the inability for Black people to get loans, et cetera. And these impediments being solely based on their race.
As far as like discrimination.
Yes, like they're being solely based on their race, it not being about anything other than you're Black, so you can't, right? And so when it's very clear cut like that, there are very distinctive responses to that can be done through a cash payment, as well as through measures that are being done to create funds for creating resources and responses like housing, like access to food, access to education, et cetera, that certain communities have not had access to because of the fallout from these things.
And I just had a quick question for clarifying. With the funds, I'm wondering, where do you think those should come from? Like the actual money, like is that we're raising money? Is it taxes? Like what does that look like?
Well, I think what they've been doing with these different reparations committees is they're looking at, all right, well, how much has this city or how much has this town or how much has this country gained from the estimated amount that was stolen from these people, right? So they're looking at like, what is this wage amount? For instance, like if you look at during that time, okay, what was the wage amount that a hired worker would get for the same work? All right. And so we're looking at how was that wage not provided and what is that pool that is being created? And then we're looking at, all right, where can that wage come from in terms of how has that wage been applied? So there are spaces where this is very clear. I think the last thing that you asked about was the difference between liberal and radical.
Yeah, please.
Ultimately, the concept of liberalism is really just not Republican, right? I mean, that's essentially what it's become.
I would disagree with that, but I understand that's your stance.
There's a very generic concept of what liberalism is in the sense that it's simply saying that I am a part of the bipartisan mind frame, but I am not a Republican. It's a mindset. It doesn't always show up in action, but it's a mindset that says, you know, I don't support extremes in certain ways, or, you know, I want the government to show up in certain ways. You know, I know there's a conservative point of view that says there should be less government, but even though it just says that, the action is very different. The radical mind state simply is living opposite to our colonizers, which is an imperialist, capitalist mind state, and radical Blacks do not believe that that is any way for us to have liberation.
Thank you for explaining that.
And thank you for being very respectful.
This is a person who came to listen. That's why I feel like it was super important to listen to her, because I was like kind of waiting for the hammer to drop whenever I first heard her. I was like, hold on, is she being genuine in her questions? Because, you know, given what we've seen up until that point, that was not genuine engagement. It was a lot of bad faith arguments were made when they asked, well, how are we going to, usually when we say, how are we going to, it's usually bad faith, right? But like, it looks like she kind of sat back after she came probably to make an argument. Then when she heard what Amanda had to say up to this point regarding reparations, she's like, hold on, let me sit back and let me ask some stuff. Let me try to learn and try to understand before I come in here and just say some shit and get embarrassed. Can I just be like 100% honest with you guys, from my guys out there, from literally my dudes? This is largely the difference between a male ego and the women. Like, she ceased and desisted. She was like, let me confirm really quick. There's some things. I'm not going to come in here and make assumptions about this woman who just clearly outlined that she has a way different mindset than I might have thought she would have had, and made way different arguments than I thought that she was going to make. The male comes in and literally, they didn't even address the things that she said. They were just like, let me just work around it. Let's talk about King Von. Redlining doesn't exist. What about black on black crime? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not about to get embarrassed here. I'm about to actually try to educate myself. If I agree, I agree. If I don't, I don't. But I'm gonna be respectful about it. And I'm not gonna pretend like she didn't already address the majority of the things that these people said. So mad respect to this young lady.
We were told to be respectful. We're not your enemies.
Look,
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen.
What type of decisions?
Not into criminality. Black males that grew up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity. And so I think one of the...
Can I put a pin right there and ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you like.
What is the root cause of there being less fathers present?
Bad decision-making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system. Like it or not, men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decisions...
I don't know who this guy is, but I know he got a podcast. Boy, that dude look like he got his whole pod. This man got the presidential, is that the presidential seal? And a cross with the American flag on it. That man woke up kissing white people's ass. Like he was born. Like he just, the first ass that he kissed, or the first person that spanked his ass, that nurse was a white supremacist. This boy, at least he got an edge up though but look at his, come on man, look at the goatee. The goatee is suspect. It's a suspect goatee. But if he didn't have anything, like, boy, if he ain't had no mustache, oh Lord. Not only would he would be a black conservative, but his arguments would be piss poor. So at least he got a mustache, I guess.
Making, especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decisions?
Not marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant.
That is not a uniquely black problem. Once again. Also, this whole black on black crime shit, like y'all do know, like, white on white crime in poor communities is also extremely high. Y'all do know that, right? It's just that there are less poor white communities. But like, if you go to Chapel, I graduated from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Go to Chapel Hill and tell me how much black on black crime you see. Because there's black people, there's a lot of black, I mean, not a lot, but there's a good amount of black people that live in Chapel Hill because we're kind of known for our sports, especially basketball and football, actually, and soccer, actually, and baseball and lacrosse. We're actually known for a lot of stuff, but they're just like zero basically. Because I was curious one day, I was like, I found out Chapel Hill, I think, is like one of the most expensive places in the world to buy, or in the country. Well, yeah, in the world too, to buy a house. The property taxes in Chapel Hill are so high that like it's basically like making another mortgage payment. It is near to fucking impossible to buy a nice house in Chapel Hill unless you are rich. Not damn it, I done forgot the name of my not buying like right outside of Chapel Hill. I'm talking about like in Chapel Hill. Okay? Like, there's no black people killing nobody. You know why? Because these are black people who come from money or have money, have opportunity, or both. You think that might have something to do with it, ladies and gentlemen? These are black people who are not forced into a situation, but chose and had a chance to better their situation or continue the opportunity that their parents provided for them. Do you think that might have something to do with it? Do you think that money and proximity to money and your race have something to do with black on black crime, white on white crime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Do you think that might have something to do with it? Out of curiosity? Like whenever LA was like bad. I'm talking about like back in the day, like in the 90s, and the Mexicans were moving in the 90s and the early 2000s. And black, LA was still LA. Bompton was still Bompton. Crips was still cripping. Okay. Black on black crime was high, but also Mexican on Mexican crime was high. Nobody's like, But what about Mexican on man? Well, no, what about Mexican on Mexican crime? Ese? Nobody said that shit. They actually made it became Mexicans versus blacks because they started putting black people, or excuse me, the Mexican community, the only opportunity they had to thrive was to place them in the areas where black people used to live. And then there was limited resources and opportunity for everybody. And so everybody started fighting for it. So then it became black versus Mexican. Instead of acknowledging the actual systemic problems and also the systemic problems that were causing the Mexicans to leave Mexico to come to the U.S. because of the fucking policies that the U.S. was implementing. Money, proximity to money, and your race, those are the primary stimulating factors or the primary catalysts to whatever fucking crime. Whatever crime, honestly. Poor people commit crimes at higher rates. Poor people commit crimes at higher rates, or at least the crimes that they like to talk about. We ain't gonna get into the Wall Street. We ain't gonna get into the genocide. We ain't gonna get into the federal politicians. The crimes we already know. I get you. I'm right here. But the crimes that they like to talk about. Poor people commit crimes at higher rates. If you work to keep people poor and desperate, they will commit crimes at higher rates. This is basic logic. Because if I'm rich, why would I risk it all? That's why, there's always a weird kid at school that like wanted to be gangster, even though their parents had money. And we used to look at them like they were fucking crazy. But like, what are you doing, dog? And to be frank, in my school, it was usually a white kid. We're like, why are you doing this? It's Slim Shady. Even Slim Shady wouldn't do this.
Women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore,
it's marriage.
Well, that's a part of it. That's marriage is a part of it.
Okay.
But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units. The black community was at its economically strongest while being at its poorest during the segregation era. Prior to 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King in his last speech said that we have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more
not. Actually, the black community was not at its poorest. Like as far as income inequality is concerned, like accounting for inflation, we're at our poorest now. We were not at our poorest during that time period, just to be clear.
all of the exports of Canada and more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. That was when we were economically at our poorest. Yet 85% of our black children were growing up with a father in the home. There was less black on black crime. There was less disenfranchised.
Why was there less black on black crime?
Because we needed to live together. We had to stick by each other. We had to stick
What was there also less of?
I'm not sure where you're leading. That's a leading question.
Yeah.
You don't like this?
I don't like leading questions. No, I like direct stuff.
So essentially, when we were living in our own communities, we were also policing our own communities. So we were not being used as statistics in the same way to determine how resources were provided to our own communities. When we were going to the government saying, hey, we deserve because we are supposed to be separate but equal, we weren't saying, hey, we want to be with y'all. We were essentially saying, we want what you are stating we deserve. And that is what all of the efforts of the civil rights movement has been. It's literally just been to say, you said when we got out of the Civil War that we would be considered citizens and all citizens should be getting equal access to these things. However, you are actively allowing the Klan to harm us. You are actively allowing.
Who's killed more black people, the Klan or us?
I would like to continue my statement. I let you speak uninterrupted. When we talk about this concept of who is harming us.
Who killed black? What? I think like in this particular case, the who killed more black people in Africa? Well, actually, no, at this point, I think the U.S. might have killed more black people in Africa than everybody else. But I think the reason is kind of important, right? And who was allowed and who was funded and who was part of this Klan and who did not face accountability. What are we talking about? When black people kill the black people, oh yeah, they getting thrown in fucking jail. They're facing accountability for that. When Klan was doing it, they were getting cheered on and also getting promoted in their local police departments or their federal FBI. Yeah, okay.
We are really making a false claim when it comes to black on black crime, as if there isn't white on white crime. There's also this unnecessary effort to try and pathologize black on black crime in a way that you don't try to pathologize white on white crime. There are white people killing each other every single day. Now they may be on jet skis in the pictures after they shoot up their whole family, but nonetheless,
y'all saw my man. Shit. Look at it. I gotta go back really quick. Look at it. That's the damn, bro. I didn't even think about that. Damn, bro. I gotta rethink my whole life. I can't believe I just came in here and made an ass out of myself, and I didn't think about that very simple fact. The pathologization of black on black crime in comparison or contrast to white on white crime. Why didn't I think about that? Why did I forget that white people be killing other white people? Why did I forget that white people be walking up in fucking theaters because they had a bad day and shooting that bitch up in like all white towns? How could I possibly have forgotten that? Oh, because I convinced myself of that. You go down that goddamn, I'm telling you that Instagram rabbit hole, that TikTok conservative rabbit hole will have you hating yourself and looking like a fool the whole time.
May be on jet skis in the pictures after they shoot up their whole family. But nonetheless, there are white people killing each other every single day. Now, much of the reason why you may see more numbers in terms of black on black crime are for two reasons. One, the statistics be lying all the time. We have seen this.
Numbers? Okay,
we have seen this in a real way. So in New Jersey,
what numbers can be trusted? Because with the previous speaker,
I'm about to tell you right now.
Okay, so your sources.
You can't such number. No, I'm literally about to give you an example of numbers not being able to be trusted.
Okay, talk to me.
That's what I was doing.
I'm listening.
Okay, then listen.
Oh, my ears open.
So listen, in New Jersey, they had a statistic that was created by the police department that said, look at how many black people are committing crimes. Look at how crazy this number is. These black people are so exorbitantly violent. Look at this. And then people went and actually matched the names that they were booking with the faces of the actual people incarcerated. And it was proven that they were lying.
So that's one. Okay, so that's one answer. You're talking to somebody that works as a police dispatcher. I'm not making content. So here's the thing.
You can't just slap past that steak that she just cooked up. See, this motherfucker that likes his steak well done. Or just rare. Either way, we don't do that. I'm a medium well kind of guy. Or medium even. But yeah, you ain't about to just slide past that steak that she just cooked up. You ain't about to do that. Yeah, that's just one example. No, she is telling you in a city where there is, or state, excuse me, where there are cities with extremely high crime rates, actually, at least per capita, that they made up statistics specifically to target black people. And you're like, yeah, that's just one example. No, what she's explaining to you is if there's one, there is more. In a case of policing or over-policing, in a case of institutional discrimination, if there's one, there's more. She's giving you an example of how statistics lie. She's not giving you statistics. She's giving you an example of how they manipulate them. And you're like, that's just one example. Oh, so that's the only, you're willing to bet your life or that $50,000 check that's not gonna help nobody on the claim that there's only one police department in the entire country that's lying about statistics. You want to bet that your life in that $50,000 check? I guarantee you not.
So no. You see what the truth is. You're about to see the truth. If you just give me a second, like Trump said, just give me a second. I'm going to do the weave, but give me a minute.
Well, here's what you all keep doing. You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point, and that's not how a debate works. So if you want me to keep getting louder, I will do it. But ultimately, if I show you respect, give me the respect back. I let you talk. I let you make your points. I am countering your points, and my points are just as valid as yours, even though you got a pocket square and a Church of Christ pin on your chest.
It's not a Church of Christ. It's
whatever. It's a cross. Same difference. You got an American flag and you think you know something because you a cop. And ultimately,
we caught it in the chat.
It's ACAB all day over here. So let me make
caught it in the chat. I saw somebody say he looked like a cop, an FBI agent. Who caught it? Shout out to you. Hey man, he looked like, don't he? He looked like he was in the military or he an agent. But oof, they just be wearing it on it. All here. The only thing that could have made it more obvious is if he put some cargo pants on, some Oakleys, and a motherfucking baseball cap. That's the only thing that could have made it obvious.
Clear. But let me also add to my point. My point is that you can sit here and blame black people on black people all day long and not acknowledge that we are forced into. You're coming to interrupt me again.
I haven't even said a word.
All right, that is flagged, so I'm going to ask you to return.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. I encourage y'all. Matter of fact, I'm going to post a link in the chat. Y'all go follow her or go watch this, first of all. Secondly, go follow her on Instagram. She's very active on Instagram. She has a YouTube channel as well. And like I said, we also, she's supposed to be coming on the show hopefully within the next couple of weeks, which will be dope. I'm very fortunate enough to say I'm friends with Amanda Seals. She's an amazing person. And like, just like I said, I have a profound amount of respect for her because I know like what she thought she was giving up when she decided to buck the system. To buck the system of, the celebrities. We know what that means. We all know what it means when you are a celebrity and you won't play ball. Especially if you're black. Especially if you're a black woman. We know what happens. Even DJ Khaled came out and straight up said he is not talking about the genocide in Palestine, despite the fact that he's a fucking Palestinian, because they're going to mess with his bag. And he's a Palestinian. So he knows. So Amanda knew what she could potentially be giving up by being this unapologetic version of herself and did it anyway. And is constantly reaching back out, not to other celebrities, but reaching out to boost the stardom of those she feels are actively working to make the change we need, not just in one community, but all of them. And what's crazy is that is radical. That's what's radical, is the fact that that's considered radical. I just consider being a human. Christian is correct. Amanda Land, her YouTube show is on tomorrow. I believe 11 a.m. Eastern. Go check it out. I'm sure she's going to be going. She's been going on Instagram talking about this and addressing everything, comments and all that stuff. So like I said, follow her on Instagram too. It's worth it. It's worth the follow. She be going in. And she even, is generous enough. She posts some of my hotspot videos. Go to her Instagram. She has actually some of my hotspot stuff on there. she's a, like I said, it's not just me. Like she talked about Afeni. Afeni was arrested, beaten, released finally. But, Afeni does amazing work in the community. And she brought attention to not only the fact she was beaten, but the work that she did afterwards. I mean, like, Amanda is the real deal. Like, somebody who moves between the celebrity and the working class. So, and as a black woman, as herself, so seamlessly, that is like what everyone should aspire to be if you are in this. That is something. She don't, bro. Go to her Instagram. I'm telling y'all, like, she don't give a fuck. Like, she don't care. She gonna say everything that's on her mind, exactly how she's like saying it at the. But she literally would get on Instagram and be like, "I just woke up. This is how I feel. Fuck you if you disagree." Basically, but she be speaking facts. So it's not like she be saying bullshit. She be speaking straight up facts. She is fearless, and that is how everyone should aspire to be. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, like this video, share this video. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We still got our goal. Like I said, I know I moved, so I, got a little bit behind, but we still on our goal. We trying to get 1 million subscribers by next year. And y'all gonna help us do it. Hit that subscribe button. Go to my YouTube, subscribe. You can help support the show by going to Patreon. The link is in the description below. You can become a premium subscriber on YouTube as well. You can also follow me on Hotspot, at Hotspot on X, at Real Niko House on X, at Real Niko House on Instagram and TikTok. I don't really post on TikTok anymore, but Instagram. And I actually just made a Kauai for my Brazilians. Y'all know what that is. It's more for fun though. It's like I post stuff with my family. So, because, I'm with them all the time. So, but yeah, man, y'all go follow me, subscribe, like the video, share this video, leave a comment below, but always remember more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.